All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you for your interest in learning more about our volunteer programs, how to get involved with Watershed Watch outreach, and then there's other opportunities as well. My name is Leslie Gallegos Stearns. I'm the volunteer and outreach manager with San Diego Coastkeeper. And thank you all for listening. We'll dive in. Our agenda for today involves going over a quick background on San Diego Coastkeeper, our organization, current programs. Then we'll go into volunteering opportunities, which involve community cleanups, Watershed Watch, community events, and outreach. And then going into other ways to volunteer, we've got data analysis, educational content, art, and translation support. For the fourth thing, what to expect as a volunteer, what the onboarding process is, required trainings, volunteer stipends, the volunteer platform. And we'll close with questions, upcoming opportunities, next steps. So before we begin, an overview of San Diego Coastkeeper. San Diego Coastkeeper aims to protect and restore swimmable, drinkable, and fishable waters in San Diego County. We are also guided by that belief that humans and all other species that inhabit our region have a fundamental right to clean water. We believe everyone deserves access to clean water. And our programs. So, program overview. These are 5 of the main things that we use as a multifaceted approach to tackle all of this region's concerns and water quality and water issues in San Diego County. We've got our education programs, our science programs, we've got beach cleanups, advocacy, and litigation. We have education from kindergarten all the way through 12th grade, where we go into classrooms and do field trips. We have our community science, which is what I'm going to talk about in the ways that you can get involved. And then we also do other monitoring where it's just staff or for legal purposes. For our beach cleanups, this is one of the easiest ways and most common way that people find out about San Diego Coastkeeper. So we have our event calendar that gets updated with different opportunities. And for advocacy, we have our legal and advocacy team that work with local leaders and policymakers to attend public meetings, give public comments, sign on support letters for different projects and issues and funding, and so on. And then something that separates us from other environmental nonprofits is that we have our legal team that are able to take on and hold polluters accountable. So we engage in citizen lawsuits and other ways that involve advocating and speaking with those people in power or companies that are polluting the region. Now, diving into volunteering opportunities. As I mentioned, we've got community cleanups. Since 2007, we've partnered with Surfrider Foundation's San Diego chapter, and together we've collected marine debris data at these cleanups, where at the end of the year, we add up all those numbers and we work in collaboration to write a marine debris report. And right now, we've got someone from our team and Surfrider working on the 2025 report. And this is one of the easiest ways to get involved. You can just show up. Sometimes we do require signups. If you've got a group that's interested for a cleanup that we have, they can sign up, and you can also get volunteer hours for this. Sometimes some of these cleanups involve tree planting or native plant planting. Watershed Watch is our community science initiative. So this started back in September of 2023 with our Mission Bay program. And with this program, you will get trained and you are going to be a legitimate contributor to environmental data and advocacy for policy action. So, because there are requirements to volunteer in the different trainings, this data can be used for legal and advocacy purposes. Some of the program goals include environmental stewardship, workforce development, equitable access, and community engagement. For our water sampling schedule, as I mentioned, we started with Mission Bay, so this has kept a consistent schedule where it's monthly at 10 different sites with 2 stormwater sites depending on when it rains and when there's rain events. We've also got Choyas Creek, which is bi-monthly, and we just recently added the Otay River with 2 more sites on the same day as Choyas Creek. Historically, Choyas Creek used to be sampled in collaboration with Groundworks Choyas Creek and their green team, where they would sample at 4 sites. But because of funding and program changes, this has evolved into opportunities that anyone can sign up for. And there were 4 sites in Choyas Creek until a couple months ago, where we decided that we would add sites in the Otay River because there are sites in Choyas Creek that don't always have water. And we have enough funding to cover the Otay River this time around. Then we've got the San Diego River, which is in partnership with the San Diego River Park Foundation. These are also bi-monthly opportunities where we support them with driving volunteers in our van, depending on the schedule, and we sample at 4 sites. And then for San Diego Bay, this is one of the sites that we use our Coastkeeper boat. It is also bi-monthly at 4 sites, 2 on the east side and 2 on the west side towards Coronado. For the Tijuana River, this is a monthly sampling where we go to 4 sites, but is only available to Coastkeeper staff because of public health concerns. And then just to do an overview of watersheds, if you didn't know, anywhere that you're not in the water, you're going to be in a watershed. And San Diego County has 11 coastal draining watersheds, although they are separated in different numbers depending on management reasons or how different entities separate these watersheds for planning and infrastructure. But in general, there are 11, and this is the way they are separated. So with our Watershed Watch program, we are covering the lower half of San Diego County. That's not to say that we don't cover the northern part of San Diego County. It's just that a lot of the northern part is a lot of advocacy and litigation from our legal team. And when sampling is required, this is generally done by them or someone else on our team. So these are the things that we are testing. We are testing for approximately 15 to 17 different parameters, depending on the watershed and the location. So we've got biological parameters, which can be measured with the equipment that we use in the field. And the next slide will have pictures of that equipment and what they measure. But between all 3 of them, we've got temperature, pH, salinity, turbidity, and dissolved oxygen. And then we also take samples to an accredited lab that is able to use different EPA methods where make this data more consistent and reliable, and we can use this data for legal and advocacy purposes. So the lab that we take these samples to is called Enthalpy Analytical. For these, we are testing for dissolved solids. Nutrients, we've got phosphorus, nitrates, and nitrites. Then we've got bacteria, which can be divided up into total coliforms, Enterococcus, and E. coli. And then we're also sampling heavy metals, zinc and copper, with added barium for Mission Bay. And it's only for one site in Mission Bay. I forgot to mention that. We have one site in Mission Bay where volunteers or someone from staff go out in the kayak out to where the fireworks dock is in front of SeaWorld, and we collect water samples there and with that added barium component. And then we've got qualitative observations such as the amount of trash. Some sites have more trash than others or are poorly maintained. Also, animals seen, whether they're dead or alive. We've seen dead birds, we've seen dead jellyfish, but we've also seen a lot of birds that are alive, a lot of fish swimming by or stingrays, and then also algae presence. Sometimes there are algal blooms that we are not aware if or known if they are harmful or how polluted it can be. So it's good to note that when looking at everything else that we're sampling to get that bigger picture. And then if there's people in the water, there's a lot of heavy recreation in Mission Bay and sometimes in San Diego Bay. So we want to know if there are people swimming, kayaking, paddleboarding, or doing other stuff near the water. And then for the Tijuana River, there are added parameters. So we've got volatile compounds, pesticides, and other industrial waste chemicals that are too long and complicated to mention here, but this data is available if you are interested in learning more. This picture shows the instruments that I mentioned that we can get these readings in the field. So if you've volunteered before, you are already familiar with all this, but serves as a reminder that each equipment measures something different. We've got turbidity, we've got YSI that measures dissolved oxygen in milligrams per liter and percent. But for our data sheets and data purposes, we only write milligrams per liter. And we've got the pH and the water temperature. And we've got on the far right our salinity tester, so measuring the amount of salt in parts per thousand. So that was it for Community Science and Watershed Watch. But there are more information and more things to note when you do the training and when you create your volunteer profile. Now I'll talk a little bit about outreach and events. So a lot of these community events take place in the watersheds that we're sampling in. So this is a really great opportunity to connect with the community where we're sampling, to spread awareness about the work and make a positive impact and learn from each other. This is for people that are passionate about community service or just seeking experience, wanting to meet and connect with new people. If you are a people person and you have the time, this is a really great way to get involved. There are also other opportunities that are not really public facing and haven't really been spread or known about. But because of interest and more volunteers getting involved, this is something that is needed and it is appreciated when people want to support with this. So we've got data analysis. So currently San Diego Coastkeeper staff, including myself and our science director, we are working on annual reports for this water quality data. Currently, all of the data is in a Google spreadsheet, but they are separated by the different watersheds and sub-programs. So we've got one for Mission Bay, San Diego River, one for Choice Creek. They're all separated between. And all of these data files can be shared directly with you if you're interested. There is going to be a form that I will be sharing. We've got reports that are sent from the lab with those results that you can view if that is of interest. So, in regards to the data analysis, there is a need for different things, as easy as just doing some data organizing and cleaning. If there's anything that looks weird or that we might have messed up on, or reading that doesn't have the correct, uh, what's the word? The correct unit. So something as small as that, just kind of editing, reviewing, reading the data. We've also got exploratory data analysis. So if you want to identify patterns by site, pollutant, or season, if you're really interested in seeing how Mission Bay sites change throughout the year or with all of the data that has been collected so far, you're welcome to explore that data. You can create charts, maps, graphs, anything that can help make that picture. And also comparing these results to those water quality standards, the benchmarks for regulatory, either recreation or just water quality standards in general from the EPA and the California State Water Board. And if you have more time, there you can do a deeper dive into this data. You can investigate questions that are suggested by staff or that we haven't been able to analyze or get to. You can also help with reporting and storytelling. So if you want to create a summary dashboard or an infographic, also open to poster boards or a presentation. And if you're able to translate all this scientific terminology and numbers and data into something that the general public can understand, that is really helpful as well. Now, another thing is translation support. It's really difficult and time consuming to translate things without using AI or any other tools that make it faster, but also can be bad in the long run because of the way that they translate some words that are not that don't mean the same thing. But if you know how to write in another language, if you can support with translating educational materials into Spanish or another language, that is really helpful and useful because it'll bring all this information to different audiences. If you're able to help translate annual reports and water quality monitoring reports, that would be amazing because we have a small team and we don't have a lot of time to translate all of this with everything else going on. I struggle to translate material and content into Spanish, and it would be nice to have that help. You can also just review or edit materials that myself or someone else has translated. This is for people that are artists or in the education field. So if you want to use your art skills and you are interested in doing something cool for San Diego Coastkeeper, like you can design a coloring page, activity sheets, you can design a sticker, or any other ideas that I haven't mentioned and you are interested in, feel free to reach out. It would also be nice if you are interested in doing an educational video, any other type of infographic or social media post ideas, or creating the social media post yourself. Also, designing field trip ideas and activities, up to also writing a blog on a topic that is related to water or the ocean or the work that we do. Now, I know I mentioned a lot, but if there's anything else that you're interested that I didn't mention, what kind of skills or time commitments can you provide, and let me know, because all of everyone that volunteers can get hours signed off if you need it for school, for work, or other community service needs. We can sign off on those. And you can also request a letter of recommendation or use a staff member, such as myself, as a reference for a job or for any other professional or school or anything really. Now, looking into the next steps, what to expect when you are going into the community science or the community outreach as a volunteer. All right, so now the onboarding process. For our community science and outreach and event support, you will be required to create an account on our volunteer platform, which I will show in a couple of more slides. From there, you will watch or view the training video and slides, but if you don't have the time at the moment you create the account, that's fine. All of these resources will be shared with you. And then for our beach cleanups, you just have to check our event calendar for the next one and just show up or sign up if it is required. We provide all the supplies that are needed. You don't have to bring anything. For the other opportunities that I mentioned, I will be sending out an interest form, and this will be available at the same time that this webinar is posted. So you can find the link somewhere near where this webinar is located. From there, I will follow up with you and share the data files that you will need for whatever project you're interested in supporting with. So, things to note for our community science program is that you don't need to be a scientist, you don't need any science background. It's open to everyone. The only thing is that anyone under 18 will require a guardian signature on the waiver, and it is most relevant to those in the high school age group and up. But that's not to say that a kid that's 8 or 9 years old, can't participate, because that's the youngest volunteer I've had. And they were interested and they had fun. So anyone is welcome. Another thing is that we do offer stipends to volunteers for the Mission Bay and the Choice Creek and Otay River program. So we offer a $60 Visa gift card to the first 10 people that sign up and attend a weekend Mission Bay Sampling Day. And for weekday events, we offer it to the first 2 people that sign up. So it would be for Mission Bay, Choice Creek, and Otay River. Another thing is that there is the expectation that you might get wet and or dirty, and you will be out in the sun. So sun protection is encouraged, such as sunscreen, a hat, sunglasses, and just water resistant clothing. But you can wear whatever you want, whatever you're comfortable in. Another thing is that we do have a designated location where everyone meets up, and from there, there's either the carpool or van pooling. Coastkeeper staff is able to drive volunteers to sites in our Coastkeeper van. This would be for Mission Bay. We've got team 3. We've got 3 teams on weekends, so Coastkeeper staff drives one of the teams, and Coastkeeper staff will drive both teams on weekdays. For Choice Creek, Otay River, and San Diego River, we also have Coastkeeper staff driving the van. For the weekend sampling days in Mission Bay, we do need volunteers that can be carpool drivers for 2 of the teams. And this would be for yourself and for 4 other teammates to 3 of the sampling sites. Sometimes we might have to divide up into 2 carpool drivers per team, depending on the size or if there's not enough space in people's vehicles. It's just a thing to note. But we can always manage, and there haven't been any complications to date. So I appreciate volunteers that offer to be carpool drivers. And then for San Diego Bay, because we are riding on the Coastkeeper boat, we meet up at Sun Harbor Marina, and then from there we go on the boat to sample at the sites. For our community outreach and events, this is a way to get more familiar with our work and programs because you will have to educate others on what we do. And depending on the event location or theme and the different audiences, there will be different focuses, which I can mention to you or whoever from San Diego Coastkeeper staff is with you on that day can go over with you and help you out and answer questions. And it's pretty easy. You just have to talk to people, say hi, share resources, give away items. And if someone asks questions, you can try to answer. You can also try to explain water quality, equipment that we might have, or the community science program. For these other opportunities, such as translation services, data analysis, and art or education content, you can go at your own pace depending on the type of project because this is your time and it is truly appreciated. There is no timeline, no deadline. You can just go with the flow. If you only have a week or a few hours in a day, that is totally fine. If you have to complete a project for a class, just let me know. If you have a month or two to do it, a couple weeks, it is totally flexible. And you do have creative freedom as long as it follows our mission, our values, and uses existing Coastkeeper materials as a reference. There are so many resources and materials on our website already. So if you want to update any of that or add on to it, feel free to do so. And then we've got the opportunity to share whatever you create, whatever you help with on our website, social media, or at a community event. So if you make a poster board or a presentation and you really want to share it with the community, we can make an event happen where you can share that. And you will get proper credit and recognition for your time and work in whatever capacity or project you work in. Now, for the volunteer platform, you will need to create an account on our Galaxy Digital website to be able to sign up for sampling events and other volunteering opportunities besides the beach cleanups or besides the other opportunities. So you'll have to create this account, and from there you'll be able to track your hours and also get reminders. So you can either scan this QR code, click the link above, or look at the other resources and links that will be on the same page as this webinar is. This is what the platform looks like. It gives you recent opportunities, the recent programs. As of now, only the Watershed Watch program gets updated by me, and that's where I add the community science sampling days and also the outreach and community event support needs. When you're first creating your account, this is what it looks like. So you'll need to add in information. A lot of those demographic questions are optional. So don't feel like you have to answer all of that. And then you will see prerequisites. So when you're making your account, it'll give you a link to the training video, a waiver and photo release, and a post-training quiz. The post-training quiz is now optional if you want to test your knowledge, test your understanding, but you will learn as you go. You will learn in the field. You don't have to worry about it. And you can review the training video or slides afterwards when I share those resources with you, or they might be linked nearby on the page where this webinar will be found. And that waiver and photo release is required to be signed. If you're under 18, as a reminder, you need a parent signature or a parent to approve it. And then from there, you'll be able to get monthly updates from me on these opportunities and also our general monthly newsletter. For that data analysis, there is going to be an interest form that will be linked somewhere near this webinar. And after you complete it with your capacity and interest, I will follow up and share those designated files with you. And the form link will be shared. So just so if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. But you will be able to start working on that data analysis project of your choosing once I sent you all those data files and you complete this form. If there's any questions, you can reach out to me via email. You can look at our website and look through all the different tabs and files that can probably answer your question sooner than I will. And if not, you can also check our YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and my contact number is there. That is my personal phone number for time sensitive things. And if I'm not answering an email and you really need something, if it's for like a letter of recommendation and you just want to let me know, or if you are using me for a reference and you just want to give me a heads up, that is acceptable. And also, if you're sending pictures of you in the field or your team in the field, that's also an acceptable form of contacting me via phone number. But other than that, I do suggest and appreciate emails for any questions or concerns. So thank you all, and I look forward to seeing you out in the field or being in contact. Have a great day.